The Chinese water deer is one of the most unusual and fascinating members of the deer family, known for its prominent fangs rather than antlers, a unique adaptation that sets it apart from other deer species. Native to the river valleys and wetlands of eastern China and Korea, this small deer has gradually expanded its range, with introduced populations now thriving in parts of the United Kingdom and France. The Chinese water deer is a shy, solitary creature, adapted to wetland environments and possessing a suite of traits that have allowed it to survive in these challenging habitats. Unlike most deer, which rely on antlers for defense and display, the Chinese water deer has developed long, curved canine teeth that can reach up to 2 inches in length in males, giving it a somewhat saber-toothed appearance. These tusks, which protrude from their upper jaws, are used for territorial battles and sparring during the mating season, allowing males to compete for mates without the need for antlers. Physically, the Chinese water deer is relatively small, standing around 18 to 22 inches at the shoulder and weighing between 20 and 30 pounds. It has a rounded, compact body with a light brown to reddish-brown coat, which thickens in winter to provide insulation in colder temperatures. Its large, round eyes and short, rounded ears give it a slightly comical appearance, often described as similar to that of a teddy bear or a small dog. The deer's legs are slender yet strong, adapted to navigating muddy, marshy terrain with ease. Chinese water deer are also excellent swimmers, often crossing rivers or lakes to move between territories or escape predators. This ability to swim and navigate aquatic environments has earned them the nickname vampire deer of the wetlands. The Chinese water deer is primarily a solitary animal, and both males and females are territorial. Males are known to be especially aggressive towards one another during the breeding season, often engaging in intense fights using their tusks to inflict puncture wounds on rivals. These fights can be quite fierce, and while the tusks look intimidating, they are not typically lethal weapons. Instead, they are more for display and competition, with injuries usually limited to cuts and scratches. Females also maintain individual territories, though they are less aggressive and tend to avoid one another rather than fighting. Both sexes mark their territories with scent, rubbing their faces and bodies on vegetation to leave traces of their distinctive scent. The diet of the Chinese water deer consists primarily of grasses, reeds, and other wetland vegetation. They are selective feeders, preferring tender shoots and leaves, and will often browse along the edges of rivers or ponds where fresh, green plants are abundant. During the winter months, when food is scarcer, they may supplement their diet with woody plants, shrubs, and occasionally fruits or other available food sources. Chinese water deer have a high metabolism and need to feed frequently to maintain their energy levels. Their relatively small stomachs require them to graze almost constantly throughout the day and night, spending the majority of their time feeding or resting in areas where food is readily available. Reproduction in Chinese water deer is unique, with a high reproductive rate that compensates for their relatively short lifespan, which averages around 6 years in the wild. The breeding season, or rut, occurs between November and January. During this time, males will roam in search of females, often traveling outside their usual territories. Once a male encounters a female, he will attempt to court her, and if she is receptive, they will mate. After a gestation period of about 6 to 7 months, females give birth to litters of 1 to 6 fawns, with twins being the most common. Chinese water deer are unusual among deer in that they can give birth to multiple offspring at once, and large litters are common. Fawns are born with a spotted coat, which provides excellent camouflage in the dense vegetation where they are usually hidden. Mothers are highly protective of their young, hiding them in thick cover and returning only occasionally to nurse them. Chinese water deer are crepuscular, meaning they are most active during the early morning and late evening hours, a behavior that helps them avoid the heat of the day and predators. Their primary predators in the wild include large birds of prey, foxes and, historically, tigers and leopards. In introduced areas like the UK, where they have few natural predators, Chinese water deer populations can grow rapidly if left unchecked. However, they are still vulnerable to human activities, particularly habitat destruction, hunting, and vehicle collisions. In their native range, habitat loss due to agriculture and wetland drainage has severely impacted their populations, as the marshy and wetland habitats they rely on are increasingly being converted to farmland. Additionally, they are hunted in some regions for their meat and hides, though efforts have been made to curb illegal hunting and protect their remaining habitats. Conservation status varies depending on the region. In China, they are listed as vulnerable due to habitat loss and hunting pressures. However, in the United Kingdom, where they were introduced in the early 20th century, Chinese water deer populations have grown and spread, with significant populations now established in parts of England and Wales. The presence of Chinese water deer in the UK has had mixed reactions. While they add to local biodiversity and are not considered an invasive threat, they can occasionally damage crops and young trees. Nevertheless, many conservationists see the UK population as a valuable safeguard for the species, especially given their vulnerable status in their native range. Interestingly, Chinese water deer have attracted considerable attention from researchers due to their unusual anatomy and behavior. Their tusks and solitary nature make them more similar to ancient deer species, and studying them offers insights into the evolutionary history of deer. The absence of antlers in males, combined with the presence of elongated canines, provides clues about the early stages of deer evolution, as well as the various ways different species adapt to ecological niches. For instance, while other deer developed antlers for combat and display, the Chinese water deer evolved tusks to fill a similar role, showing that species can adapt in diverse ways to achieve similar purposes. Another fascinating aspect of Chinese water deer biology is their social structure, which is less hierarchical than other deer species. Unlike the large, mixed herds common to many deer, Chinese water deer lead solitary lives, only coming together briefly for mating or when females rear young. This solitary lifestyle likely developed as an adaptation to their wetland habitat, where dense vegetation and limited space make it challenging for larger groups to coexist. Living alone also allows them to have exclusive access to food sources within their territory, reducing competition and increasing their chances of survival in areas where resources are sparse. The Chinese water deer is a remarkable example of how a species can adapt to its environment in unexpected ways, both in terms of physical traits and behavior. Its distinct appearance, behavior, and lifestyle make it one of the most interesting and unique members of the deer family, highlighting the incredible diversity of life that exists on our planet. Protecting this species and its natural habitat is essential not only for preserving biodiversity but also for maintaining the ecological balance of the wetland areas it inhabits. Conservation efforts must focus on preserving the remaining wetland habitats in China and Korea, where these unique deer evolved, while also managing introduced populations in other countries responsibly. The Chinese water deer's survival reflects the importance of conserving diverse ecosystems, and their continued existence serves as a reminder of the intricate and surprising adaptations that allow life to flourish in even the most challenging environments. Please give this video a thumbs up, leave your comments down below, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.